Hi guys and welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. Now today I want to show you how to make this adorable Santa Claus cupcake topper. He is extremely simple and quick to make, perfect for all those Christmas orders. If I just hold him up towards the camcorder for you so that you can see him a little bit better. He is domed, he's still setting at the moment, so I can't just take him off, but it just means on that beautiful domed cupcake that you have, there can be plenty of buttercream underneath. Remember guys, if you like what you see, please do support the channel, subscribe for free, share this tutorial, happy baking, give it a go, and let's make a start. To make these adorable yet extremely simple Santa Claus cupcake toppers, you will need the following. I am choosing again to use these cupcake foam balls. It just gives the cupcake a lovely domed shape. Some Poppy Red Renshaws fondant and some white Renshaws fondant. I am going to be colouring a small amount of this white, black for the eyes, and also a lovely flesh colour for Santa's face. Again, ingredients wise, Tylo powder. This will just turn that chestnut colour that we make into modelling paste so it sets in that lovely domed shape. Some edible glue. This is what you're going to need to make the flesh colour. Now you don't have to use this particular brand, but you want chestnut. That's the particular colour you want to use to get that lovely flesh colour for Santa Claus. Again, equipment wise, it couldn't get any more simple. I've got a rolling pin, a Dresden tool and a brush, which most of you will already have. And if you don't have any circle cutters, just invest in them. But for this particular tutorial, circle cutters I do possess. You've got this rigid side on one part of the cutter and the smooth side on the other part. I'm wanting to use the rigid side this time. If you've only got the smooth part, don't worry about it. The first thing we need to do is colour some of our white Renshaws fondant into a flesh colour. Using a cocktail stick, simply take a small amount of your chestnut colour, place it directly on the fondant and then just knead this in until you get the colour desired. This is the sort of colour that you are aiming to achieve. Now we need to turn this into modelling paste. Simply take a small amount of Tylo powder and add it to the centre of your fondant. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm only making one cake topper, but for every 250 grams of fondant, you simply need to add 1 level teaspoon of Tylo powder. Now, all we need to do is knead this in and it will make modelling paste. That, believe it or not, is now modelling paste. It really is as easy to make as that. So basically, it's lovely and pliable now, and if you put this in a food grade bag, it will stay that way. However, if we leave it out and let the air get to it, it will set lovely and hard and keep that perfect cupcake domed shape. The next part is to cut out our round circle. Now, this is not a necessity. These are called spacers and they are exactly 5 millimeters thick. You do not have to use these. This is just something that I choose to do. Simply placing a small amount of icing sugar on my work surface with the fondant in between the spacers, just roll it out. Taking one of your cupcake formers, if you just cover this with a little bit of icing sugar first, that's just to prevent the modelling paste from sticking to it whilst it is setting. And take the largest circle cutter that you have chosen to use and simply cut out a circle. Now you will notice I have used the rigid side on purpose. When you do this, just make sure you rub it against your board so that it is cut out correctly, just like so. Hold that towards the camcorder, and then we want to place this over our cupcake dome and just negotiate the sides. And this is what you are aiming to achieve. Now we're going to start building up our Santa's features just using very simple shapes. So taking the cutter that we use to create our dome shape, we now want to cut out some white. This is only white fondant and it is extremely thin. You can see how thin I have rolled it out there. Once you have cut this out, using the circle part that doesn't have a rigid edge, we want to just trim it off slightly. It does have a big beard, remember, so I'm going to think about there and just pull that away. So this is going to be the main part of our beard. Now I am going to be building that up a little later on in this tutorial, but you want to start by sticking this to your cupcake topper with a small amount of edible glue. Because this is so thin, I have chosen to put the edible glue on the topper rather than on here. This will manipulate beautifully. The ridges do not have to be in line with each other. You're just wanting to start building it up to create that lovely beard. To create the nose and the cheeks, take a small amount of the modelling paste, that is the flesh colour. We're going to start by doing the nose first. So it wants to be just a round ball. Get rid of any creases in there. Small amount of edible glue, bang in the centre, just above the beard, and place on your nose. Now for the cheeks. Again, a small amount, but this time it wants to be more of an oval shape first. And then you're going to place it on your work surface. You see that just there? And just push it down slightly because we don't want the cheeks to be as large as the nose. That nose wants to be a really big dominant feature. So if I just pick that up first and just test it, that's lovely. Now I want to make the other cheek the same size, so simply just repeat that process and use the one that you have already made just here as a guide to make sure you get them both the same size. If we test that on there just next to the nose, beautiful. And then stick those down again with some edible glue. I've just pushed the nose and the cheeks up slightly because I want to add more definition to that beard now. So taking the smaller one of the circle cutters, again we're using this rigid edge. Cut out another circle, but this time I have rolled the fondant a little bit thicker because I want it to stick up off that cupcake. And then again, using the rigid edge, I'm going to cut there first. Turn this around. See how we've got a little bit of a cloud shape? And just repeat that for the other side. So there will be a little bit of excess just there. But these are the pieces that I want to place underneath the cheeks, just to give his beard a little bit more definition. So just keep on distorting that until you get the shape that you want. So I'm going to straighten them up a little bit more, and then we can continue adding the features for Santa Claus. Here you can see how such simple techniques and features can really bring something to life. What I want to make a start on now is Santa's hat. All I have done is rolled out some of the Renshaws Poppy Red fondant and taking the same sized cutter that I initially used to create this dome, that's what I'm going to use to cut out the hat. But I'm not using the rigid edge this time. I'm going to be using the smooth edge and just simply cut out a large circle. We're then going to make this large circle smaller so that we can fit it across the top. Again, just using our cutter. So just position it just where you want it and cut. Place it on top. Perfect. Now I'm going to stick that down with some edible glue first. And then we're actually going to add a little bit more white to it. We're going to add a little white rim. So now, taking some of your white fondant, we want to roll this out on a surface just dusted with a small amount of icing sugar. If I just move that slightly to one side, I'll just give this a roll. What I'm doing with this, I want to create the rim on here. So again, this time I'm actually going to be using the middle-sized cutter. I'm going to be again using this part of the cutter. So just cut out a circle and then again cut another one. Remember, this is fondant, it will stretch. It's nice and pliable as well. So you want that sort of shape just there. Then we're going to bring in our cupcake topper. And obviously this one's going to be too small, but like I said, it will stretch. It's pliable. Now here, where we've got a little gap, that has been by accident, but I still need to add a ball for the hat. So taking some of your red, Poppy Red Renshaws fondant, just simply roll this into a ball. If you've got any edible glitter, you could even add edible glitter to the hat separately. Just be very careful not to get it onto the flesh colour though. And then stick on the ball part of your hat. I want to now add the eyes and some eyebrows. I have coloured a small amount of the Renshaws fondant black. You want to take some very, very small balls of the black fondant and don't stick them down just yet. We're going to place them on here. Let's get that off there where I've marked it slightly. We're going to place them on and just check that they look okay, because I think that needs to go further in. They want to be just above the nose. These ones might be a little bit too big. I'm thinking more that size rather than that one. So I'm just going to take a small amount of it. Really take your time when doing your eyes on anything. It can look fantastic, and then if you don't get the eyes right, it can just ruin the whole look. So those are Santa's eyes. Now, just using some edible glue just underneath, I'm just going to push them down slightly. And then using my Dresden tool, just make sure that the gap in between them is distinctive, but that they are close together. So what about this piece here? Well, taking your small round cutter again with the rigid edge, cut out a circle. This is only fondant. And we're going to do something similar to what we did with the hat. So we're then going to cut off another rim. But this one wants to be fairly small. This one is going to be fragile and we may need our Dresden tool to help us. So that's what I'm looking for, but I don't want it to be quite as long as that. So I'm going to take a few of the sides off, but not too much off all at once. Okay, I think I'll use my brush to pick this up and test that it will look okay. And you see how it finishes him off perfectly. Now, if you wanted to the actual beard, I'm not going to do this with this particular cupcake, but it's just an idea. If you get lots of little balls of fondant and just roll them up and stick them all the way around, that won't stop on there without any edible glue, but you get the idea, just stick them all the way around the base of your beard. And on here, it will just give it that little bit more definition. But you've seen how quick this is to make and how simple it is. So if you're making an awful large batch of cupcakes for Christmas, They're absolutely perfect. If I just hold it up towards the camcorder so you can see him properly. Obviously he's still setting. All that glossy part that you can see is the edible glue that will dry. But this is going to set with a lovely dome shape. Perfect for those Christmas orders. Give it a try, guys, and I will be back soon with an awful lot more free tutorials. Happy baking, everyone.